right. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Oh, look at me, already doing that. All right, so before I begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge a few people who have helped me along the way for this project. First being Professor Stephen McAlpin, my INDS advisor. Without him, this project would not be happening. I'm sure that he has gotten completely sick of me and is glad that I'm here.
Stick around.
I would also like to thank Dr. Stephen Freeland, the INDS chair is an official title. The Dr. Stephen Freeland, for believing in me and giving me a second chance when I needed it. I would also like to thank my faculty mentors, Professor Mitzi Mabe and Dr. Rita Turner, who is not currently here. That's okay. And I would also like to thank other professors that have influenced this project, including Dr. Stephen Carciolo, Joe Reagan, Mary Ann Pastelak, and Claudia Brown, who have had influences on my artistic style over the years. And I would like to also thank the artists who worked in collaboration with me on this project, Connor Brendan, Addie Canizero, and Samantha Allen, who assisted with the artistic portion of my project. Okay, so, sorry, 2 seconds.
You can also hit the space bar on the...
Oh, can I? Okay. Okay, so without further ado, all right, so my project is understanding and translating the emotional scars of bullying. And in order to understand my project, you really have to understand who I am and what I've been through. I have been bullied very severely in the past, and up until recently, I've been completely unable to talk about it. And so that has really influenced me all through school, mainly in middle school, was when I experienced the most of the issues that I had with students, even teachers. I've had teachers bully me. And so that is a very important thing to say. But with this project, I really wanted to understand what bullying was and what we could do to solve this. So the main point of this project is, for me, was to find a catharsis to be able to deal with the issues that I've had in the past, to reach an understanding about what bullying really is, because it is a term that gets thrown around a lot, to bring healing for myself and for other people who may be victims, a transformation in a way, because now I'm moving into a new chapter, and hopefully anyone who views this project and reads through my research will be able to also have that, and to be able to prevent future instances from happening, be that a victim standing up for themselves or a third party viewing what's happening. With this project, I intended to question what bullying was, how we talk about bullying, and what programs exist that discuss bullying. Artistic, government programs, where are people talking about it and what are they saying? And so to get into the real meaty stuff of the project, bullying involves a power struggle. It involves negative behavior, and it's typically repeated over time. Now, I found that very interesting myself, because some things I would wonder about that, and so this is a project that I will continue to be working on in the future. This isn't the end of this project for me. So keep those things in mind as we continue with this project and presentation. So one of the things that I really wanted to share with all of you is this chart. And basically, as you can see, they took a survey in 2007 on how bullying affects people, like how often is it really happening? Because we hear this word a lot, bullying. Oh, well, this person bullied me. Oh, well, that person bullied me. So how often is this really happening? And from the survey pool, it said that of the people being bullied, about 21% of them were being made fun of, and 18% of them were being the objects of rumors. And so together, that's 39%. That's a pretty good portion of the size. So if we could just tackle, say, one of these issues, it could really change the way this whole problem goes about being solved. So also the Hallmark Foundation found that 70% of middle school and high school students have experienced bullying at some point in school. That's 70%. So I'm a very visual person myself, I don't know about all of you, but that means more than half of the people in this room, if we were a classroom, more than half of us would sit here and say yes, or would at least say that on a survey. However, only between 20 and 40% report it when it's happening. So that means a whole, at a minimum of 30% of the time, 30% of those people are not coming forward to say, hey, this is happening. And it's not just this. There are also innocent bystanders, third parties, that are seeing this happen and not standing up for it and not saying, hey, this is happening. Okay, so the disciplinary perspectives that I used for this project were education, film, communication studies, and psychology. Education was the main focus of the project, and the reason for that was because that's where I experienced bullying, was during the school day. After school was completely fine. When I was at home, when I was out with friends, it wasn't a problem, but while I was in school, during the rotation of the day, that's when I would be picked on, and that was what I wanted to focus on. However, with that project, because it's an interdisciplinary project, I had to pick other disciplines that would also focus on this too. So I chose film because it would allow me to use artistic expression, film, music, acting, those sorts of things, to be able to get a better grasp of this problem and then be able to talk about it. Communication studies, obviously, because how are we talking about it right now? Are we going about talking about it the right way or not? And with psychology, in order to understand what's going on, we have to understand the basics of how the mind works, things like mental illness. Teen suicide is, I think, the 6th leading cause of death for school-age children, and that's a big deal. So that's something that we need to focus on with this, with these things. So for the methods for this project, I really focused on 2 main things. First being recording. So for this project, it was a 3-part. I did the 10-page research paper that is part of the INDS research, and then I did a film, and then a reflection on the process and going through all of that. And with the film, I had to go in and I had to show the scars that nobody else could see. So I had a very intimate moment with one of my friends where I basically had to sit there and tell her all of the things that people had said about me over the years. And it was a very hard experience to go through because the artistic side for this project was the scars that nobody sees. So I had a friend of mine come in and she painted words on my arm to make it look like they were etched into my skin, inspired from another project that I had done. But it was very difficult for me to go through because I had to sit there with one of my best friends who knows almost everything about me and say, this is what this person said, this is what that person said. And then as a second method for this project, I had to basically question, okay, how are we doing this? So that was basically how I did it, was I went to different people, my advisors, my friends, my family, and I said, like, well, what do you think about this? And I recorded a lot of conversations with a lot of people so that I could then go back and look at those conversations and be able to pull out, oh, well, this is a really good question that this person had. This is how I need to go look for the answer for this. Like, what percentage of high school children or middle school children are actually bullied? So those sorts of questions were the things that I had to look at. For this project, I had to use 2 bridging strategies. The one that I chose to talk about for this project is bridging the explanation-action gap. And over the course of this project, it actually changed for me. when I started, I thought that I was going to use advancing through checks and balances. However, that ended up not being the case, and I ended up using reasoning through analogies instead because I found it more relevant. With bridging the explanation-action gap, though, I used this because I wanted to help people move through the problem. I wanted to be able to sit there and look at a room full of people and inspire them to be able to say, yes, this is something that we need to do, this is something that we have to look at, and we have to start really talking about it because it is affecting people. And as one of the sources that I had said, the worst effect that bullying can have is death. And I mean, we've all heard it on the news, we've all seen it, how a child commits suicide because something like this happens because they're being teased and nobody stands up for them. So in order for me to really get the research portion of this together, I had to understand what's going on out there in the big world with this topic. So 21st Century Passos was a program in PA for 7th and 8th graders where they created a website and a video series to be able to talk about bullying that they were seeing in their school system. And Dusty, which is Digital Underground Storytelling for Youth, was in Oakland, California, and basically what they did was an evening and after school and summer camp program to talk about different issues that are going on in their life. And there are other things that are going on too. The government's talking about it, the school system's talking about it. They're not just strictly arts programs that are talking about this issue, which is a very good thing. Afterschool Alliance, the government has stopbullying.gov. These are programs that are out there that exist for this issue. And I'm going to take a quick moment and show you just a little clip from my video that I made. Calm down, deep breath, get yourself dressed instead, running around, pulling on your thread. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm starting to run out of time, but I wanted to show more of this. But so you get the kind of the gist of what's going on in the video, and I interlace pictures of how good my life has been since these incidences have happened. But for this project, I really wanted to understand what bullying was and how I can creatively talk about it to help other people understand what's going on with this issue and what other programs are going on. So thank you very much.
Questions from anywhere?
How can people access your video?
The video is up on YouTube.
Okay.
I have shared it with some people through social media sites, but I have not publicly posted it as like a, hey, everybody and anybody come and look at this video. It's there for anybody who would want to go and see it. And if you'd like, I'd be more than happy to send anybody the link if you would like to view the entire video. It's about 4 minutes long.
So you mentioned the survey that said 70% of students mentioned that or reported being bullied. Did they ask how many self-identified as bullies?
The article that I was reading that pertained to that did not discuss bullies. It focused more exclusively on the victim. However, that is a very good question. I'd be very eager to know the answer to that myself.
I was just wondering to what degree folks might both be perpetrators
Both.
and
Be both.
and victims.
sense that as a society we are talking about it more now, objectively? And is that bringing catharsis to society, the way that doing this project has brought catharsis to you?
Absolutely. I think in the past, in my academic career, I've really seen a shift in the collective consciousness in terms of what issues we're dealing with and how we're going about talking about them. Anti-bullying programs are all over the place. I work for an after-school program currently, and every year we have an anti-bullying rally. My kids even went in and did a skit themselves talking about bullying and inverting the power. So the victim of the bully was this, giant like quarterback guy. I mean, he could pick me up and put me on up on a cabinet. And the bully was, this very small high schooler. So I absolutely think that we are really starting to talk about it. And I definitely like that, but we need to continue to talk about it. It needs to not leave the front of our minds, or it could get worse. Yes?
Could you say a little bit more about the song, why you selected it, and if the songwriter's gone on record in talking about bullying?
Okay, so the song was originally by Jason Mraz, and for those of you who have the flyer that I passed out, that is the lyrics for the song that I did. I did a cover version of the song. And I chose that song because it really connected to me and how this issue is being portrayed. I thought it fit really well with the project. Jason Mraz never directly talks about bullying in the interviews that I've seen. And but the album that this song is featured on is about his own personal transformation and refreshing himself and getting back to his roots and figuring out who he is as a person. It was his third album, and so it really did affect me, and you can tell from the song originally. I did change some of the words around to make them fit a little bit better, but not so many as to even dare argue that they're my lyrics.
Kirby, thank you for this. I guess my question is in terms of your methodology, and I'm still a little unclear. You made the 4-minute film.
Mm-hmm.
You also talked about, did you interview people?
No, I did not.
Okay. Okay, and then, because you mentioned a lot
Not
of people in the beginning.
Not formally.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry,
And
I
then-
should have been more
Yeah,
clear
and then
with
you
that.
made a written piece as
Mhm.
well. What does the written piece then entail? It is really the history of bullying, or does it get
So-
into practices of filmmaking, or?
Okay, so it was actually a 3-part,
Okay.
not a 2-part. So the first part was the research, so the different programs that are out there, how we go about communicating with each other on issues. So like one of the articles that I had was how to communicate through through rough conversations, and the government websites that are stopbullying.gov. Cartoon Network even did like a whole spiel with different videos and that sort of stuff. So it was examining those different programs and different groups that are discussing this right now. And then I did the video, which was the artistic side of this project. And then I followed up with that by doing a personal reflection on, okay, well, what have I learned from this? Because I do want to help people, but if, I have to be able to learn myself, or I'm not going to be able to. So that was what the third part was about, was understanding, okay, well, this is how the research relates to what I'm doing, and the process, and what I learned through going through the recording studio. I had never gone into a sound record. Was actually me singing on the track, and I've never done anything like that before. So I've really stepped out of my own box with this project, and that's really what it was about. Was okay, let's try something completely new.
Thank you.
Thank you ever so much. For the sake of time, we're going to hold off there, but I do encourage anybody who would like to